Life sometimes becomes worrisome and you ask yourself why. What is addiction? We your questions are dodo ne bisa omo ube sebi na obi ensa asen. Obi ebia na niema bia ensem fata asen. Obi no akonum bibi no aye basa. Enya nepe nanso owom ebeye den we ni ho afim. Enu nti na Atinka TV. Yedi dwumadi attending say addiction yedi brew. Eha will bring you the professionals. Sanso na victims ni bia omompe a omewuremu ye ni ombekasa. Eye futu. You need that advice so you don't fall into this disease. Addiction. I'll be right back.
Hey! Sisters, why am I big gaps to don't gas it duro. Everything that you they do na solo. We me love kolo my solo. Solo. This tune me the fan name or kolo. Water and sweet like a kolo. Solo tune to look everything solo. Fan name. Link up. Take one solo, Afro dance all solo, Mingle solo, Dante solo, Africa International we bring solo, 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 solo.
Word room tatari. Cough off.
Hey baby, cough off did the trick, man.
Eye drupa e free to Binko Pharmaceuticals Limited. Ubenya e droyi bi ato ewo pharmacies ne drugstores ewo omenyi mu nyina.
Today, my special guest on the show. He's the head of Addictive Diseases Units under the Psychiatry Department, KORLE-BU Teaching Hospital. And it's so special, Mr. LOGOSU AMEGASHIE. Sir, welcome to Addiction.
Thank you very much. My pleasure being here with you.
First of all, let's go straight to the question and ask everybody want to know, what is addiction? Or the disease termed addiction?
It has been a controversial topic over the years. From the professional perspective, I would want us to concentrate on the professional definition, the addiction professional definition of addiction. And that puts all matters to rest. And it is so because it makes treatment easier, so that there will be no debate about the etiology and the intervention when it comes to addiction and its management. The addiction professionals are saying that it is chronic relapsing brain disease characterized by compulsive seeking and usage of drugs despite the consequences. Here the emphasis is on disease. There's an indication that it's a disease. Therefore the issue of morality, as the social scientists will be talking about, other people, students of morality will be talking about, it is no longer a moral issue.
It's a disease.
It's a disease. Now, when they talk of progressive, it means that it starts from somewhere before coming to some. It's not a one-shot disease.
Definitely.
Therefore, and when they talk of compulsive use, it means a repetitive action using despite the consequences. The consequences could be medical, psychological, social, and even spiritual. The consequences, because we have seen even pastors who are afflicted with the disease of alcoholism and they are not able to function well.
Someone getting into addiction, how does it happen?
Now, it depends upon, there are different rules as to how people get started to use drugs. There are those who start using drugs just because they have home models. Parents, home models.
Home models.
Home models. Parental usage of drugs in any form can start the genesis of psychoactive drug use.
Can we have some examples of home models?
When I say father, mother are using, there's a possibility of emulation.
Okay.
Children wanting to emulate and find out what is in that bottle or what is in that wrap, that white thing. So out of curiosity, they will also want to go and use it.
Okay.
That is where it is very important for us to look at it again and see whether we need to be blaming the youth who are into this thing. They are just victims of the greed and the behavior of the elderly.
Some parents.
Of some parents, not necessarily parents. If you look critically, who are those responsible for the production of alcohol and the drugs? It is not the youth. It is the agent. The victims are rather labeled and captured in a very bad thing, but they do not start the business. It is the greed of the agent in society, not necessarily only in Ghana. Therefore, one of the rules that people start to use drug is parental usage as a trigger to the genesis of the abuse of alcohol, nicotine, marijuana. Mention them.
So just finding out what exactly parents are enjoying from whatever they're doing.
Yes. And this is very obvious in every home. Apart from that, we can also say that there's a genetic predisposition. Because there are people who will drink alcohol, but they will never get addicted. There are some who smoke, but they don't get addicted. If you have a genetic predisposition, you will start and you eventually get hooked onto the drug. When I say genetic predisposition, I'm going to use alcohol as the drug of illustration here because it is the commonest and the legal thing, and it creates most of the medical conditions that our doctors and ourselves are battling with. 1,001 people out there will not see the import of alcohol when it comes to drug addiction, but it creates more than 4 times the medical complications of cocaine, heroin, marijuana, everything put together.
Alcohol.
1,001 people are not privy to this information. From the temple of our head to the sole of our feet, alcohol can cause more than 300 medical conditions.
Wow.
Forgetting about the psychosocial implications of alcohol. Therefore, it is not only the other drugs that have become the debate of society. They also have their areas that they cause confusion. Now, there is another route of entry into drugs, that is peer influence. Negative peer influence.
That is what we call it in our
peer
normal
pressure.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. So, and it is always that feeling of belongingness that people want to belong to a certain group. As a growing person, all of us are growing. We have our own cliques, in inverted commas. We want to be part of that thing. And in the course of being that, you are swallowed by the mob behavior, and then you need to conform to the rules of that group, whether good or bad. If you don't have the descending or you are not resilient enough, you kowtow to these behaviors, be it good or bad. So people generally start to use drugs under peer influences.
Okay. Minim say wesua di bebre ebisa say, "Hey, we na manipa ekoyam." Let's watch this video. When we come back, we'll talk about the victim.
Harold Nete is my younger brother. I mean, we grew up together. He's actually, we are first cousins, but we grew up together because he lived with us all his life until he drifted off along the line somewhere. I did not notice anything because at the time this was happening, started, I was not around. I was working in Akosombo with VRA. So I didn't know what was going on with him. But then he just drifted off from the house, and you see him once in a while. He didn't know what he was up to. He might come up to you and come and tell you a story. I mean, you believed him, and then you part with some money. Along the line, you know, you don't get to see him again for a while until he needs something again. And that is when we began to notice that there was something going on with him. Everybody began to suspect him of something, of being on something or the other. Or you meet him in traffic and he'll be the first to spot you. It doesn't matter how far you are, he'll be the first to spot you and come towards you and with a story. And always there's a story. So, I mean, we all began to worry, but you are unable to find him to actually deal with the situation. So what you do is that you wait for him to come and you put him down, talk to him, you listen, and you agree that you try to change and all that. And as soon as he leaves, that's it. You don't find him anymore. You know, so there was not much the family could do, but we were always worried about him. So I was really thrilled at the point where I heard that he himself got up and walked into a rehab center. that is when I said, well, he's on his way to recovery. I want to speak about addiction, in fact, drug addiction, because I was once a victim of this habit, and it all started in school. Most addicts will tell you they got into drugs through friends or curiosity. Mine was a combination of the two, peer pressure and then curiosity at the same time. So, back then, cocaine and heroin were not so common on the scene. So in school, we started with marijuana. And we went on till I finished school. And then after sixth form, that was when cocaine and heroin had come on the scene. So, and it's through a friend I got to my first encounter with crack cocaine. And when every addict will start from a point where you become, out of curiosity, you want to go and try it, and then you go on, and then it becomes like a recreational, and these are the stages I went through. Then it became like a recreational thing, and then we started abusing it, and then it went on and on until I became addicted to it. And when I first started, it was just crack cocaine, and then somewhere along the line, heroin also came in. A lot of things happens to every addict. First of all, you eventually you will leave home. In fact, you will lose every good thing that you have in your life, your work, your family, friends. And for me, what I lost that hurt me most was the love and trust of my family and friends, because I started doing things that were not conforming with what I was brought up with. So eventually I left home. I mean, nobody sacked me, but because my lifestyle then was not accepted, and sooner or later I found myself in the ghettos, where I had easy access to crack cocaine and all that. But before then, I had a very good job. I started working after sixth form. I had a very good job. I was working at the American Embassy as a surveillance detection officer. And like I said before, once you become an addict, you lose everything. So I lost that good job, and I started selling everything that I had in my room. And after selling everything, that was when I hit the streets, because I had nothing left. And I've always said that every drug addict becomes a habitual liar and a thief. This thing went on for a long time. In fact, for 20 years and more. I did a lot of awful things, to my family, to friends, telling lies here and there. Some of us, we didn't have that heart to go out stealing. I remember I did some shoplifting every now and then. I got caught once, taken to the police station, and then a cousin of mine comes to bail me out. And I love to talk about it, because once you are out of it, and I'm saying when genuinely out of it, you need to speak out so that other people can hear your story and be mindful, especially if they have started. You should let them know that this is where you are. I mean, once you start using the drug, it's a sure way to destruction. There's no way around it. You certainly will end up as a destitute, or you go to jail, or you die. So, and this continued for a long while. Like I told you, lose the love and trust of family and friends, and then now you are walking on the streets dejected. And once a while, God will orchestrate a scenario where you are on the street and you see a friend you were in school with, driving his car with his wife and child at the back, and then it dawns on you that, look, you've gone astray. But you see, drug addiction is such that once you go into such a solemn mood after seeing something like that, it's just a matter of time. Once you get money and oh, I have enough to afford to buy my next hit, you forget about all those things, and then you are back on the streets smoking. So like I said, it went on for a long while, and then at a point in time in my life, I started getting sick every now and then, and I had TB.
that was the moment when I sat down and decided in my heart that, look, this thing can't continue forever. And, you know, because I've gone around family to tell one lie after the other about my health and stuff. Now that I was really sick, I couldn't go anywhere. I was left on my own. Luckily, you know, TB is free. You know, treatment is free. And then I started my treatment. I was living with my sister then, and I went through this, you know, just like as soon as I was taking off the drug, because I had gone through the long intake of the medication, you know, I was back on the streets, you know, and I started to, you know, think about my health, and somehow I felt in my spirit that if I don't quit this habit, I'm going to die. And you know, at a point in time, I became very suicidal. The reason why I'm alive today is that I didn't, or back then, I couldn't find or think about the easiest way to just take my life. But I considered it, you know, at a point in time, you know, I wanted to really end it all. And I had different options. You know, where I used to smoke, the railways was not too far. And I was thinking one day, let me just go, and when the train is passing, I'll just drop myself on the rails so that the train can. And then I would think and say that, no, this one is it will be too painful a death. Thinking about hanging, I can't stand it. Thinking about drinking poison, and I was thinking about the pain I'll go through. So, like I'm saying, every addict, it gets to a point where you become suicidal. You want to end it all because, I mean, you really want to quit, but there's no way out. So, you know, for me, I started praying because I come from a Christian family. I had nothing else to do at that time than to pray. And, you know, the funny thing is that I was praying and yet I was still smoking, because heroin comes with, you know, withdrawals. And once you don't get it to smoke the way you do it every day, you have pains in the joints, running nose, headache, I mean, general body. You know, this is an individual thing. Everybody and how he feels when he's not getting it. So, and it makes quitting very difficult because you don't want to go through the withdrawal. We call it the cold turkey. It's so painful that you can't think of quitting the drug because you think that even the cold turkey will kill you. So, you know, I was contemplating, like I said, I was still smoking, and yet I was praying that finally God should just help me out of this. It dawned on me and said that, look, 2 times friends came. Today is not a friend, and you are going to look at this drizzle and stay. Come on. So I walked unconsciously in the drizzle from Kokomemle all the way to Achimota. And, you know, it is the kind of drizzle that you can walk through, but when you stay in it for long, you certainly get soaked. By the time I got to the gate of Chosin Rehab, I was soaked from up to down. And you should have seen me at that time, looking scruffy, looking unkempt, looking, you know, I mean, when you see me, your first impression will be that maybe I'm a sick person. And indeed, I was a sick person. And on that fateful day, I checked into the rehab. And that was it. I did 18 months. You know, the program is for 3 months. You stay on as a volunteer for another 3 months. But I did 18 months. Within these 18 months, I did well by the grace of God, and I became the supervisor of that same rehab. And the founder had left for Sweden, and I took over, and I had like 98 other drug addicts under me that I was, you know, counseling and all that. I had gone through the same process, you know, and I want to take the opportunity to thank some people who helped us, you know, supported the rehab, because without their support, we would have closed that rehab down. And the first that comes to mind is Mr. Tobin of Tobinco Pharmacy, because he was giving us money. Apart from that, he was giving us basic medication quarterly, you know, painkillers, dewormers, and we really needed such medication at the rehab. And the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, he also supported us very much. I want to thank, you know, sincere gratitude to Atinka TV for coming out with this idea, this program Addiction. you know, it's been long overdue. I was always looking around for any station that to start a program because we need this platform to educate all the youth out there, all of them, because a lot of things are happening and that will amaze you concerning drug addiction, alcohol and stuff. So I think kudos to Atinka TV. This is a great thing. And for me, I've told the producer, I'm always ready to share my experiences. Anyhow I can be of help, I'm always ready to be of help to this program.
Tie. Rest doctor catch me say me ni nuane a iron ne vitamins wo. Me kofa no he. Me ni me ho adaje. Enti ma hotoso ene Foligro. Foligro ma me vitamins B12, ma me folic acid, ma me iron a. Eji ahoden e de akoma dwen mo mentini mo ene me ni padua mo akwa ba bibia. Na rese ma hoden e betumi ejan na so. Foligro me kan so no me pa chopin fo betumi anom. Afa oba obo ni nsa betumi anom. Na me de no e de se ewo me che ani enti mo fate ne nka otukohia sa wo pese wo nya hoɔden omoja mu nko adia ene Foligro moja dramu edu pa
Foligro drupa efrito binko pharmaceuticals limited ubenya edroyi bi ato ewo pharmacies ne drugstores ewo omenyi mu nyina Nemum kai se apemfo emofra ne abatan a omoma omomanufuo ehu doctor ansa omo afa edroyi
Minim say what see asem ama wa bottle. Osompe nanso ye den. Ukurem. This is the victim story. Now let's get to the professional. Mr. Loco, you heard a victim story.
Yeah.
How do you help such a victim?
Yeah, when people have problem with substances, substance use disordered persons, there are several ways that we have access to them. Some volunteer and come that they are tired, then you help them. Some will go around trying on their own. Some go to churches, some go to shrines, some are brought by their parents, some are referred by the law for us to assist them. In some cases, you will be considering that those who volunteer are going to be the best of clients. It is not necessarily so. Some are compelled to come and they end up having the best of prognosis. They recover and they do according to your listing. So, well, at the beginning of it, despite the route of admission, whether the person volunteered, whether he was forced, whether he was referred by the medical officer, whether he was referred by the law, we have as professionals certain things to do. We administer very comprehensive biopsychosocial questionnaire to them to elicit necessary information that can be the baseline to take off for therapy.
So maybe the start of it and then how he got into very serious.
Yes, you would want to find out. First, you have a picture of the demography of the person, okay, the age and everything. You would want to look at the gateway drugs that he or she started with and the drug that he is currently using, whether he's using multiple drugs or not. You also want to go into details and find out the family's involvement in drugs, the history of family usage, and the way the person feels when he uses the drugs, their reactions. Whether the person has a criminal record, has he, because of drugs, gotten into the long arms of the law, was he arrested, and those sort of things. Had it affected his or her education or work? What about the interpersonal relationships? If he's married, is he still married, divorced? Would he or she agree that the drug use was the cause of his divorce, loss of job, termination of appointment, delayed in promotion, and does he have any health implications? Okay. Had he suffered a disease before and that was put at the doorsteps of his addiction? You do a very comprehensive this thing. Apart from that, you go beyond, if you are a professional, to do the psychological state of the person.
Before you continue with your statement, an addicted person, how will such a person give you full details of? Because we normally, or we hear that maybe you are going through such diseases, you have a low brain sort of a problem or something.
That is the greatest of deceptions that have been churned out there. And I must be honest with you at this moment to tell you with all authority that persons with addiction are averagely the most intelligent that God has ever created.
Wow.
The only unfortunate part is that that intelligence is used rather wrongly.
Okay.
You understand? But when it comes to intellectual quotient assessment, the person with addiction has the highest, relatively the highest. There are 1,001 proofs over there. And you, all of you in this profession, you would have known some of your colleagues who were sharks when it comes to academics, but eventually falling victim to drug addiction.
Definitely.
Yes. So that is that. And anybody who is addicted is not mentally derailed.
Okay.
It is a stage. We have certain things that you have to cross before you cross from addiction to psychotic or mental ailment. Listen very carefully. One of the basic differences between the psychotic patient or the mentally ill patient is that when a mentally ill person wants to come and take this phone that belongs to you, he doesn't need anything. He will just walk in and take possession of it as if it is for him. But the drug addict or the person with addiction will come and tell you that your car has started burning. By the time you are running out, then he picks the phone and go to this place. Would you consider that person a psychotic patient? It's just being too smart. And the smartness is not going to, eventually he sells that phone at a very cheap price, using it to destroy himself. So that is just the basic, the fundamental difference between the person with addiction and the psychotic person. So they are not mad people. Before you can have a very comprehensive and fruitful treatment for the client, you need to get the families involved immediately.
Please hold on. Let me just tell my listeners and my viewers something. We are dealing with Indian hemp. People call it weed. People call it ganja. And that is what we are dealing with now.
Thank you. We'll be dwelling so much on but this is the general thing that we do for everybody who comes in.
Okay.
We'll be narrowing in on somebody with cannabis. That's the weed.
Okay.
Weed. So, but at the beginning of each therapy or treatment session, we need to do a family session to let the parents and those significant others understand that the person is not a moral deviant. And that whatever he is doing is just because the soul is willing, but the body is weak. It is his intention to quit using, but he has lost the capacity to do that. We must address that. Otherwise, the judgmental attitude of ignorant parents and families go a long way to thwart the effort of the therapist and the client's own motivation to stop using.
Oh, okay.
Therefore, if the person seems to be in the company of people who do not find anything right about his existence, it gets very difficult to even mix. So they find solace outside into the ghettos or where they smoke the drugs, because there they are not quizzed, they are not queried, they are accepted. So we do.
And they stay there forever.
They stay there. They prefer that environment to the home environment, because if you are not very careful, there's a possibility of genuinely wanting to help your ward and then eventually sending the person away, and you may not find him. Let us, as institutions, families as institutions, be very vigilant. Especially families, we should be very vigilant to nip these things in the bud. As institutions, I think we must do everything possible to resource persons and train more people in drug addiction management and have institutions for. As a nation, there's a need for Ghana. I challenge all parliamentarians in the various 275 constituencies to have drug rehabilitation centers in all the constituencies. They should use part of their common funds to build rehabilitation centers, because as long as we pretend and behave as ostriches that the situation is there, a time will come you cannot walk freely on the streets of Accra, and for that matter the whole Ghana. You may be, a knife will be pulled on you, bring your purse or you are dead. So thank you.
Wow. Great inspiration. So you had all the education. It doesn't lie on one person. That is why at Tinka TV, your voice, did you make air bro? What can who be? Menso mekaho. Said the wakan, yenina, yen sheni ye. Na addiction. And no, and on my money. So catch yourself, Sacrovaba. We are be out. No man, no man, yen, and no any pusso. Abusia eha ena emrebe ma ye nkwan ya iri dwumadi ni nyina esi nyame ya adoma da sene ye Sunday next edition abroad program din ye addiction Tinka TV.